Pinky. Busan, Monica. Don't stop. Hi, I'm Brad Voss, the Executive Director of Made in the Streets, and I'm so glad that you chose to join us today on this MITS Day of Sharing. It's an important day, and it's an essential day to the ongoing work and the success of Made in the Streets. The Made in the Streets program in Kenya is really unique. In fact, it's like none other I've ever seen. It's comprehensive and holistic and has so many different aspects to it. And I'm excited to get to tell you a little bit about it today. I'm excited that you'll get to hear kind of the day-to-day operations and how it works over in Kenya. It all starts out when a group of Made in the Streets team members goes out on the streets each day. They go out on the streets in Nairobi to find and meet kids connected to the streets where they're at. They find them and they get to know them. They talk to them, they learn their names, they learn about their families, they learn what led them to the streets. They even learn about their hopes and dreams, what those kids want for their future. In doing so, they also invite them to the MITS Drop-In Center that's down in the neighborhood of Eastleigh in Nairobi. There they can get a hot meal, they can clean up, they can get first aid, they can get new clothes. They get the opportunity to hear a Bible story. They get the opportunity to learn a lesson, and they even get the opportunity to play games. It's a great time for those kids who show up each day to that drop-in center. The most important aspect, though, is that the team at MITS is getting to know these kids and recruiting those who are ready for change. And sometimes those kids are ready, and they'll make a decision. Maybe the biggest decision of their life, the decision to leave the streets. And a couple of times a year, we see a group of kids, boys and girls, decide to leave the streets and join the MITS boarding school program. It's in another area called Kamulu. When they get out to Kamulu, they get their room with a roommate, and they get their own bed and their own pillow and new sets of clothes. Some of them, they're getting these things for the first time in their life. They're getting 3 nutritious meals a day, and they get to go to school. Again, some of them for the first time ever. They start their school at the MITS Learning Center. At this stage of their education, they're learning their basics. They're setting up the basic academic structure for their future success. They go to school from early morning till late afternoon, and they're learning things like English, Swahili, math, science, Bible, and even art. It's a great way for them to start their education. And after about 4 years, those students will transition into the MITS Skills Program, a vocational training opportunity where they will learn skills in one of 3 areas, either in hospitality or in cosmetology or in auto mechanics. This is really important to the success of their life change, because in learning these skills, after 2 years, they'll have a license and they'll have experience and they'll have the skills to go and get a job. For most students, in fact, for 95% of the students who graduate from this vocational training program, they will go on to get gainful employment and not go back to the streets. This is so cool to see this kind of life change happen. But that's not the end of the MITS story for these kids. You see, even after graduation, there's a team from MITS that goes with them as they go back into the world. In fact, we call it the Into the World program. And this team of MITS staff works with them on job placement and career counseling and sometimes other types of counseling. They also help with their spiritual growth and their social development back into society. They walk with them each step of the way, and they're there if they need someone to fall back on. One of the coolest things is that they help these graduates get involved in volunteering back at MITS. That's really cool. Well, this is a program, as you've heard, like none other. When I said holistic and comprehensive, what I mean is that they get the opportunity as they leave the streets, go through school, go through skills training, and then back into the world to grow in so many ways. They get a chance to grow their education, to grow emotionally, to grow physically, and maybe most importantly, to grow spiritually. One of my favorite things about MITS is that boys and girls from the streets and the school and even being sent out into the world are getting to learn about God. They find out that there's a God who loves them and cares for them and wants the best for them. And when they find that out, they know that they matter. They matter to Him, and then they find out that there are people all around the world who love for them and care for them and want the best for them. And that matters too. And I guess in that they discover they matter to others. When you know that you matter to God and you know that you matter to others, it gives you a different sense of your life and gives you hope for your future. It's amazing what happens, and I'm so thankful to you for helping make it happen. I'm excited now because you're going to get to hear from some of the students and staff at MITS about why MITS matters to them. You're going to hear in their own words what they think is going on at MITS. Enjoy.
My name's Francis Mbuvi. Our mission has always been to rescue street children and equip them physically, emotionally, spiritually, because we believe that once we've equipped them, then they'll have what it takes to go out and change our world. I'll say it's not the easiest, but it's one of those things that as a ministry, we've come to see the importance of it. We've come to see how useful and helpful it is to these kids, and that's why we've continued to go back and back for more and more of these kids. I have a lot of favorites, but I think the best one for me is when I see kids who had no hope brighten up by learning, brighten up by knowing to speak English, brighten up by being confident of themselves. I think for me that's a favorite part. When I see them growing in that direction, getting to know God, getting to know their love, getting to know their worth, oh man, that fulfills me.
My name is Moses Okoth. I'm the skills director. So the life skill classes that we have engages our students in aspects to learn how to work with employees, to work with their colleagues. We talk about how the spiritual life we've impacted them so much in chapel and church life here. How do they continue that? Since their schedules might be busier from Sunday to Sunday, depending on their work, we've introduced stuff like DBS. DBS is Discovery Bible Study. How do they do that with their neighbors? How do they do that as graduates, as within their own selves? And again, over the years, we've come up with this thing called the MITS Graduate Profile. What do we want to see our kids become? What do we want our kids to be when they leave Maiden Streets? The idea of getting an accredited certificate means when our students leave, they get employed. On their interviews, they can show their certificates or their diplomas, and they would say, okay, this is where I'm from, and somebody can go online actually, and somebody can go and refer to some other, database and Made in the Streets would be listed. I was like, okay, this is what Made in the Streets is. It's a technical training institute, and this student is from this school, and they're trained. So to some degree, the perception of the paper is really important. Knowing our kids and knowing where they come from and all the challenges that they've had even before coming to Made in the Streets is our kids have gone through challenges like being denied, being in denial, their parents not being able to give them a pat on the back and tell them good job and stuff like that. So while they're here, we build their self-esteem. And our students, in time, they get to understand that there is hope. There is people, maybe back at Made in the Streets, who believe in me, who have expectations. And when they go out, surprisingly enough, it's not surprising for us, but surprising enough for employers, that we want more like this. We want somebody like this because they've seen something in those students, which maybe is honesty, timeliness, their perseverance. They shun going back to what they came from. That is it's a fear that's a driving force that is positive for them. They don't want to be looked at as failures. They've had all that in their lives, but they want to turn the leaf and they want to become better, and that pushes them to become positive-minded people. The structure that we have here really has molded them to be able to actually do it when they're on their own. So yeah, so I believe the structure does work, and I believe the structure is effective, and that effectiveness is seen once they leave.
My name is Steven, and I'm in advanced class. Yeah, my favorite thing about being a student here is that for me, wearing a uniform, sometimes it was hard back then, but here I wear uniform, I have water to wash them, but back then I didn't have water to wash my uniform, so I may wear my uniform for a week or so. So another thing is that classes, they are different here, but you get to learn so many things, even about life, even about education. The difference is that when I came to MITS, I found out that there are so many teachers who care for us and love us, and when I was at that school, they were just caring for just the salary and not caring for us. My education really matters because it really matters because of my future and how I'm going to be a responsible person in the future. In the library, we have those books that help us to study about all the things that we want. Some people here, they have what they want to be, their profession of what they want to be in the future. I want to be a scientist of studying the astronomy. So I want to study hard so that I may be a scientist.
My name is Catherine Wamboi. Before, I didn't know how to write, read, doing other things like cleaning clothes. But now I know all. I can do it. Since I came to MITS, I know God, I know to read His Word, and I know He loves me and He cares for me. And He has a bright future that He has planned ahead of me. Made in the Street have taught me to be a chef by using technique and technology that we have here, and to learn skills that can help us when we graduate, and say thank you for those who sacrifice themselves for serving Made in the Street, and for those who pray for us and think ahead of us. May God bless you and provide for you and bless you all the days of your life.
I see Made in the Streets reaching to many more kids. and that means, you know, we have to be ready in terms of teachers, in terms of setup, in terms of dorms, in terms of all this infrastructure that can be able to accommodate the big number that we are thinking about. And we say between 300 to 500 in the next few years, maybe between 5 to a maximum of 10 there. That requires a lot of thinking and planning about it. But I see us being able to reach to a bigger number of kids, and this is because, you know, statistically and you know, looking at the number of street children in our country, you know, of course they say it's around 60,000, you know, just in Nairobi, and if we only have 130, then that still leaves a big gap. It matters because we need partners. As much as you can do some things, there are things that you need people to partner with you. You know, we have partnered with God to do this because we couldn't be doing it without Him. And for us to have the kind of impact we are talking about, and the kind of future of influencing and reaching more kids, we need people to partner with us. Partner with us in prayer, to partner with us in friendship, to partner with us in giving, to partner with us in you know casting this vision where we want MIT to become an international ministry that reaches to street children and shows people that there is a potential, and these kids can become what God intended for them to become.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? It's so great to hear the stories from the students at MITS themselves about how MITS matters to them, about how it matters to their education and how it matters to their spiritual life. And it's also really cool to hear from the MITS team members about how MITS matters to them, and we see how they've given up their lives to serve others and to change the lives of others. Well, it's awesome that so many people are a part of MITS, and so many people have chosen to make donations to MITS on this day of sharing. If you've already given today, thank you. Your gift has already made a difference. And if you haven't given yet, that's okay. There's still opportunity. You can give right now by going to the website madeinthestreets.org, and you can donate right there. Or if it's easier, take a picture of the QR code right here on this screen, and that'll take you directly to a donation page on your smartphone or on your tablet, and you can donate there. Some of you may even decide to become a MITS champion and become a recurring monthly giver. These are folks who are really dedicated and committed to the work of MITS on a monthly basis and ensure the ongoing success month after month. However you decide to engage and participate, we are so appreciative. Whether you're giving or volunteering or especially praying, thank you. It all makes a difference. And it all gives a chance for boys and girls to leave the streets and change their lives. Maybe most importantly, it gives them a chance to get to know God. And I'm reminded today that knowing God really does matter, and that we all matter to Him. So thankful that the boys and the girls on the streets in Kenya that connect to the MITS team and the kids going through the MITS program get to learn about God and learn that they matter to God. I also hope that you get to know God and that you learn that you matter to Him. It all makes a difference, and it all matters. Well, until we meet again, for everybody a part of the Day of Sharing, thank you very much. And remember, MITS matters, and you matter to MITS.